Hi card making friends, Sandi MacIver here. Today I have 3 easy ink blending technique combos for you. We're going to be making slimline cards. We're going to be using Gina K ink and a Brayer, and we're going to be using this beautiful stamp set from Simon Says Stamps, and it is called the Slimline Scene Builder Christmas. You're also going to need your MISTI for this technique, and we're starting with a piece of Hammermill white cardstock. It's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I'm wedging it into the bottom right hand corner of my MISTI. You want to make sure that you're using a corner to secure your paper because this stamp is solid image and it's very big, so it's going to pull your paper right out of your MISTI, and you want to be able to put it back in because we're going to stamp the ink twice. Okay, we're starting in the middle with the powder blue, and I'm using the brayer to add the ink across the center of the stamp. And I'm going to overlap the colors a little bit. I'm not going to clean my brayer because I'm moving to blue denim, which is a darker color in the same color family. And I'm adding the blue denim to the bottom of the stamp. And I'm starting at the bottom, moving up a little bit just so that I can overlap a little bit. Clean your brayer just by rubbing it back and forth on a piece of photocopy paper, as you can see I have on the right there. And then I'm switching to the Wild Lilac, and that's going to be the top color on my stamp. So again, gently brayer across. Okay, and then what I'm going to do to blend the lines where they meet is I'm cleaning my brayer and I'm going to go back to the powder blue. I'm going to ink up again, and I'm going to ink the center once again, but I'm going to run over the bottom and the top a little bit to blend those lines. Okay, so that blends them out just a hair, and then I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm having a little bit of problem with this brayer. It wants to slide across instead of rolling. Okay, so close your MISTI, and I grab a Kleenex just to help move my hand over it, and you want to rub really well and transfer as much of that ink as possible. Remember, this is a solid stamp, and so the longer you leave it there, the more ink you're going to transfer, and just give it a really good rub. Regardless, we're going to ink and stamp twice. So you see me stick my finger underneath there to hold on to the paper, and then I open very carefully, and it does move, so I'm wedging it back into the corner because I inked again, and here I'm rubbing again. Okay, again transferring as much ink as possible, giving it a really good rub, and then opening up to show the pretty art piece. Isn't that beautiful? And so I'm heat setting this to dry because we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing overlay. So I'm going to be using the large tree from the stamp set, and I'm offsetting it a little bit on the left-hand side. So the little bit is going to be outside of my art piece, and don't worry about that because we're going to be cutting it out. So get that set up in there, get it attached to the lid of your MISTI, and use an anti-static mat. And then I'm going to stamp it with Versamark ink, and I'm going to cover it with the white embossing powder, shake off the excess, and heat set it. And again, you want to give this a really good rub because you want to transfer as much ink as possible. That means you're going to get a thicker and stronger white embossed tree. So there we go. Open it up. Take your art piece out. I like to close my MISTI so I don't get a whole bunch of embossing powder inside it. I hate cleaning embossing powder out of my MISTI. And here we go. Cover the entire inked surface with the white embossing powder. Shake off the excess, and you're going to heat set it. Next, I place the art piece right back into the MISTI because I'm going to do the overlay stamping, and these are the dots, and they're going to add the little decorations to my tree. So this is 2-3-step stamping, and it's kind of fun. You just keep layering things over and over and over, and that's what's fun about this stamp set. And again, when you're doing this technique, you can do all your inking first, so it's great for mass producing a whole pile of cards. I actually did 4 for this video, and I'll show you the other 3 at the end. So again, I'm using Versamark. That's the ink that holds the embossing powder in place until you heat set it and make it permanent. Closing my MISTI, again giving it a really good rub, and then I'm going to cover it with a lovely glittery embossing powder, and I'll share all the names of the embossing powders in the link below the video and over on my blog. They're from Wow, and this one is a really pretty purple color. I'm using a folded piece of paper so that it's easy to get it back into the jar when I'm finished, and I'm just sprinkling that purple over, and then I'm going to shake it down over top of the rest of the embossed image, and then the extra will be onto my piece of folded paper. Again, we're heat setting. I used my paper cutter to cut out the 3 straight sides and then scissors to cut out the bottom. And we're going to work on the mat that goes in between the card and the art piece. And it was cut from Simon Says Stamps Slimline Marquee. And I took a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock and just cut it out from that. I'm going to secure it again in the bottom right hand corner of my MISTI because I don't want it to move while I'm doing the stamping, and just in case I have to stamp the sentiment the second time. I'm placing my art piece in. I'm not securing it. I'm just using it to determine where to center my stamp for my sentiment. Okay, so I'm holding it in place until I get my stamp in there, which I have now, and then I'm going to remove the art piece. I'm going to put the magnet back in place, again, just in case I need to stamp a second time. Close my MISTI to secure the stamp onto the lid, and I'm going to be stamping with Gina K's Wild Lilac. I use the darkest of the 3 colors on each of the cards to ensure that I have a nice deep sentiment at the bottom. And Gina K's inks are lovely. You usually only have to stamp once. And there we go. For the card base, I'm using Simon Says Stamps Lavender. This is cut at 7 by 8.5. I'm putting the 7-inch side into my score buddy. I'm scoring at 3.5, and because it's longer than my mini score buddy, I am turning it around and scoring it from the other end. They match in the middle, and then you just fold it in half. So I'm using the new Dots tape runner from Simon Says Stamps to attach these. I really like this stuff. If you haven't tried it yet, it's worth it. And I'm securing my mat down to the center of my card base. I like to turn these over and just give them a good rub from the back. That way, if I have any ink on my fingers, I'm not getting them on the front of my stamps. I'm terrible for having inky fingers. I'm using this big foam roll from Simon Says Stamps for my foam backing, and removing the protective cover and centering my art piece onto my finished card. Isn't that beautiful? They're nice and flat, and you don't need extra postage, and Simon also sells coordinating envelopes. Next up, here are the other 2 color combos. Here's the green one, and I started the top with Grass Green. The middle color is Key Lime. The bottom color is Lucky Clover. For the turquoise card, this beauty, this is my favorite color combination. You know me in blue. What can I say? Gina K again, Tranquil Teal, Ocean Mist, and Blue Lagoon. And the colors again for the card I did in the video for you. This is the purple blue one. We started with Wild Lilac at the top, in the center powder blue, and at the bottom blue denim. This is also an absolutely stunning color combo. So there you go. I hope you'll give this ink blending technique a try and get an early start on your Christmas cards. I've got 4 in the hopper now, so I'm excited about that. I'm ahead. Gosh, that never happens. Anyway, I have a list of all the supplies under this video, also over on my blog if you need them. And I hope that you will give this a try. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And until next time, toodles!